What's up, guys? Welcome back to Give a Shift. Today we are here for the weekly show. This is a show that comes out every Monday, as always, talking about things going on in the industry, news, reveals, anything like that. So without further ado, let's get into the show. So first thing we're talking about today, and the only thing we're talking about today, is just Tesla in general. They came out with two new products. One was actually quite a big surprise in the past couple of days. Maybe you heard of it, maybe not. So here we go, let's talk about them. First thing we kind of knew was coming was the all-new electric Tesla Semi. And this Semi was very highly anticipated. It's been known that it's going to be coming out for a long time now, but it is finally here. And there's a lot of things, so I'm going to read off some of the notes I have here on my phone. But first off, like I said, full electric car. Obviously, it is Tesla, so full electric Semi. This Semi, they say, will have about 500 miles of range. They don't say the size of the battery packs or anything like that, but they do say it will have about a 500-mile range on one charge. Now that charge can be almost completely refilled up to 400 miles in about a half hour on their new mega chargers that they're going to be coming out with, that apparently solar powered DC style chargers that they will be installing worldwide, as they said. And so it's going to produce it's gonna, shove a lot of that energy back into the batteries very quickly on a very short amount of time. So like I said, about half an hour, which really isn't bad at all for almost all of that, charge to be back there, 400 miles worth of that. Now this electric Semi, as you see, like a nice little in-cabin picture here, is that this this Semi is one seater. Right, so the seat is right in the middle of the cabin, so it is one seater. There is a jump seat that you can put down if you do have a passenger, but it is a one-seated Semi. Now this is very nice for the driver, as it is very driver oriented. It has some nice big LCD screens that were borrowed from the Model 3. In there is some info panels, and obviously your steering wheel and all that. So it's a very clear, big cockpit. Very good visibility was a very big thing that they were focusing on here. Very comfortable was another thing they were focusing on. So yeah, very kind of cool, futuristic looking interior here. Now with Tesla, you do have the whole autopilot, semi-autonomous system coming over to that. How exactly it's going to work with what certain sensors and things, we don't know very much, specifics or anything like that first. But we do know that it is coming to this truck. They have not released pricing or anything like that either yet, but you can reserve them for $5,000 right now. Now, there are some companies that have already said that they're going to be definitely purchasing some of these trucks. Now, Walmart has already said that they will be, ordering some of them. They're ordering, I believe they said 15 of them. About 5 are going to the US, and I think the last 10 are going to Canada, just for them to kind of test out. Seeing how they would work with their supply chain and things like that. So there are some big companies that are already hopping on board with this. They are planning to start making them in 2019. We will see how that goes. Being Tesla, they're still even struggling to get their Model 3 out. Some production line issues have been happening. And they did actually just record a pretty bad quarterly loss in quarter 3 of this year of, I think, somewhere around $600 million, which is quite a lot of money, obviously. So they're kind of been struggling on that, but we don't actually even know where this truck is going to be made yet. All the batteries will be made at their Gigafactory. Of course, a giant, massive factory out west. It is one of the biggest buildings, actually, in the United States. Actually, in the world, I'm pretty sure. Massive, absolutely massive. Anyway, but this truck, like I said, highly anticipated. They came out just this past weekend. It's not necessarily the first of its kind to either offer electrification or autopilot systems, autonomous systems, I guess you could say. But if all of these claims live up to what they're saying, it's going to be a game changer. All these other companies, there's other companies that have already been investing in things like this, like autonomous systems. Google has looked into this, Waymo, things like Volvo, Daimler, all those companies have looked into autonomous trucks, as well as electrification of trucks. Like Cummins just came out with theirs that we talked about a little while ago, that they kind of beat Tesla to the punch. But this thing is super focused on efficiency. It has a very good drag coefficient. I believe it's in the low 30s, so it's very slippery. It can tow up to 80,000 pounds, and I mean, the thing is, the performance of this thing is going to be incredible. If it actually lives up to all the claims that they're making, it's going to be absolutely insane. So it's definitely a game changer here. Now, we knew this was coming. There was a giant event, and when they rolled this the Semi up out of the trailer after they announced that, they actually pulled a little, hey, guess what? Here's a new thing. They announced their new Tesla Roadster, like the V2. If you guys remember, when Tesla first, emerged as a car company, they came out with their first Tesla Roadster, which was actually based on a Lotus. Now, this car was kind of just a test bed for different technologies that were starting, things like that. But it had its problems. It was a first car, right? It was a first attempt. Then they had the Model S, which obviously did very well. Now they have the Model X. Now they have the Model 3, which is coming out very soon. Obviously, they just did their Semi, like we just said. And now we have the Roadster, right? This car is going to come out in 2020, is what they're saying. And it has some pretty big numbers, pretty impressive numbers. Here's a little picture of the spec sheet here, if you want to look over it. Pretty impressive, quite impressive. First thing that is, pretty insane is that it goes 0 to 60 in 1.9 seconds. That's insane. I mean, that would be the fastest production car to go. There's no production car that goes 0 to 60 in under 2 seconds yet. Right now, there are cars that do that. Rally cars are big. They do it regularly on a regular basis, but no production car can do that yet. So that would be completely insane. How it does that? It has a 200 megawatt hour. It has a giant battery. All right, so the P100D, that is their Model S. That is their fastest, biggest battery pack. This is double the size, right? It's a 200 instead of a 100. And with that bigger battery pack, you have more range. Now, apparently, this car will do about 620 miles to one charge, which is about 1,000 kilometers. So it's going to be the first electric car that does 1,000 kilometers on one charge. So when they announced all these numbers and things, and if you're looking on that spec sheet, you may have noticed something that's kind of weird. And it says 10,000 Newton meters of torque. Kind of weird. Different language here. If you guys don't know the conversion, 10,000 Newton meters of torque equals 7,376 foot-pounds of torque. All right? A little misleading, guys. A little bit misleading. So, someone who I saw put this very, very well is Johnny Lieberman of Motor Trend. On his Instagram, he wrote this. So, Tesla claims 10,000 Newton meters of torque, which translates to 7,376 pound-feet, as we have just said. Now, this is a little bit misleading, because remember, that number is a multiplication of torque via a set of gears, rather than the actual output of the electric motors. In other words, don't believe the hype. What is the actual torque for this Tesla concept? Seeing as how Audi's actual torque output of, if you guys remember the R8 e-tron, their concept that they released a couple years ago, that one they claimed it would have 5,000 foot-pounds of torque. Kind of weird, but that didn't actually happen. Their actual output was 502 pound-feet. So they went from 5,000 to 500. This one's going from 7,000, probably going to be somewhere in the range of about 1,100. Why they do this? Probably just for press releases, to be honest. It's not necessarily completely wrong, it's just misleading. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Anyway, how they're going to put all this power to the ground, it is going to be all-wheel drive, but it'll be all-wheel drive with 3 motors. 2 in the back, 1 in the front. So it's going to throw that power down really, really well. Now, that number was misleading with the torque, but what do you guys think? Do you think this car is actually going to be able to put all this power down to the ground to actually do 0 to 60 in 1.9 seconds? I mean, that's extremely fast, and if that's actually possible is another story. Now, there has been some ride-along footage that has come out, kind of, I don't know, it's pretty bad quality, but I mean, there is some footage out there. It does seem insanely fast, but I guess we'll see as it comes up in 2020. Remember, this is still a concept car, but it is a very good-looking, at least from my perspective and what I think. I think it looks absolutely insane. It looks really, really good, very good-looking car. And if they can actually live up to all these numbers that they are putting out there, it is going to be absolutely legendary. especially coming out in very, very soon. You know, in 2020 is the release date that they have set. Now, again, whether they'll actually be able to release them by then is another story, but hey, that's what they're trying to do. Now, this car is going to cost $250,000. It is a 4-seater. I feel like it's going to be one of those things like a Porsche or like a, I don't know, I guess a Mustang or a TT type deal where you can't have legs to ride in the back, but it is a 4-seater. 250 grand, like I said. There is a reservation price of $50,000. If you want to get one, you can right now. Order books are open. And there's going to be a Founders Edition, I believe it is called, for $250K. So $200,000 or $250,000 if you want the limited one. I think they're making like 1,000 of those, something like that. So 2 new really cool products coming from Tesla. Let me know what you guys think about them in the comments below. Do you think Tesla's going to be able to like live up to the hype, live up to all their numbers that they're putting out? Or is it just kind of press release BS that they're just throwing at people just to throw numbers in their face type deal to create some hype? I mean, Tesla, I mean, they're a crazy good company. I mean, they're really revolutionizing the whole automotive industry. They're really just shaking the foundations of what we have going on today. So let me know in those comments down below what you guys think of all of this, all these numbers and all this press releases and things that Tesla just come out with. So yeah, guys, I believe that is all I have for you today. That was the weekly show. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you can go down there and hit that like button if you care to. Smash it if that's something you're into. Like I said, comment down below, and if you want to read anything else of the things we talked about, I always link all the articles and things that I read up on in the description below, so definitely go check that out. Hit that subscribe button if you want to see more videos coming very soon, and without further ado, this is Give a Shift, guys. My name is Thomas. See you guys next time. Peace!